Testing 1 2 3. 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 Testing 1 2 3.
The property at 2716 Granada Boulevard is before you for consideration for designation as a local historic landmark. The single-family home is located along DeSoto Plaza. 2716 Coral Gables was originally, during the initial development, 27 Merrick Merrick chose the 1 and 2 much of the original. The front entry was relocated to the western facade of the original front porch. This front-facing gabled roof bay was originally comprised of a full-length screened and arched openings. The central arches of the side facade are supported by simple classical columns. The cornice is substantial, formed by in 1960. In conclusion, The property at 2716 Granada Boulevard is before you for consideration for designation as a local historic landmark. The single-family home is located along DeSoto. As per Article 8, Section 8-103 of the Coral Gables Zoning Code, 2716 Granada Boulevard is a wedge-shaped lot along the north. Coral Gables was originally conceived as a suburb of Miami. During the initial development, construction was handled by Merrick's.
Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Sí, pone la presentación rápido para ver.
As per Article 8, Section 8-103 of the Coral Gables, 2716
Esto tiene que tener.
Coral Gables was originally conceived as a suburb of Miami.
No.
During the initial development, construction was handled by Merrick's Coral Gables Construction Company.
Clicaste por todo lo.
However, as sales and land acquisition surged, Merrick's own workforce could not keep pace. By late 1922,
Chequéalo,
Merrick carefully
joven.
chose a few select contractors to work under the general oversight of his company. The Markley Construction Company was one. Markley Construction was founded and managed by the brothers James and William Markley. They were responsible for numerous high-profile projects, such as the Coral Gables Country Club,
Zoom test. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is a Zoom test.
Heard.
Everybody ready? It's 4 o'clock. You guys ready?
Yes.
All right. Which items are you
I
here
didn't
for?
change mine.
May I ask? Which items are you here for?
Mr. Maxwell, before we begin, if I could just make an announcement. Today, we have our court reporter on Zoom, so it's going to be especially important that everybody speak into a microphone loudly and clearly, that we try not to talk over each other, and that we, because sometimes the camera may not be able to capture who is speaking, so that we don't talk over each other, so that the camera can capture and we can have accurate minutes.
Mumble.
Not that it's not always important, but it's especially important today, if you don't mind, Mr. Maxwell.
I don't mind, Ms. Attorney, at all.
Thank you.
You'll just have to pardon my mumbles.
That's fine. And just, yes, make sure your microphone is red and close to your mouth when you speak. Thank you.
How many of you are from Alhambra Circle? All of you? Okay. And you, sir?
From Granada, 2716 Granada.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, let's. There's no one here for Aragon? No. All right. Let's move Aragon to the last, and so we can deal with all the folks that are here.
Well, their architects aren't here yet.
I'm
The,
sorry?
the only person that's ready to present right now is 2716 Granada.
Okay. All right. Let's move the schedule around a little bit. We'll go ahead and why don't we do the local historic designation, so we get the Granada up and get that taken care of. And let's see. And you're for Granada, right? Not for Alhambra Circle? You're for Alhambra Circle. Okay. All right. We'll try to slide you in here so you can get in and get out. All right, we're going to open the meeting up, if that's all right with everybody. Is everybody ready? No Ms. Rolando? Okay. Hi, Anna. Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Ms. Rolando is here. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Coral Gables Historic Preservation Board. We are residents of Coral Gables and are charged with the preservation and protection of historic or architecturally worthy buildings, structures, sites, neighborhoods, and artifacts, which impart the distinctive historical heritage of our city. The board is comprised of 9 members, 7 of whom are appointed by the commission, 1 by the city manager, and the 9th is selected by the board and confirmed by the commission. 5 of the members of the board constitute a quorum, and 5 affirmative votes are necessary for the adoption of any motion. Lobbyist registration. Any person who acts as a lobbyist pursuant to the City of Coral Gables Ordinance Number 2006-11 must register with the city clerk prior to engaging in any lobbying activities or presentations before city staff, boards, committees, and/or the city commission. A copy of the ordinance is available in the office of the city clerk. Failure to register and provide proof of registration shall prohibit your ability to present to the Historic Preservation Board on applications under consideration this afternoon. That's a long sentence. Lobbyist is defined as an individual, corporation, partnership, or other legal entity employed or retained, whether paid or not, by a principal who seeks to encourage the approval, disapproval, adoption, repeal, passage, defeat, or modifications of any ordinance, resolution, action, or decision of any city commissioner. Any action, decision, recommendation of the city manager, any city board or committee, including, but not limited to, quasi-judicial advisory board, trust, authority, or council, or any action, decision, or recommendation of city personnel during the time period of the entire decision-making process on the action, decision, or recommendation which foreseeably will be heard or reviewed by the city commission or a city board or committee, including but not limited to quasi-judicial, advisory board, trust, authority, or council. Presentations made to this board are subject to the city's False Claim Ordinance, Chapter 39 of the City of Coral Gables City Code. I now officially call the City of Coral Gables Historic Preservation Board of May 21st to order. The time is 4:06. Present today are Anna Alvarez at the end, Donna Spain, wouldn't you know it, I would forget. Peggy Rolando, Cesar Garcia Pons, Alex Silva, Michelle Dene. Let's see, and you are Marlon Everett and Kelly Shield. So you have all of us right here, and our distinguished staff. We have Anna Pernis, who is our preservation authority here in the city, with her staff member, Kara Kauth, and our attorney, Ms. Throckmorton. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the meeting held in April. Are there any changes and corrections? Any changes or corrections to the minute? If not, I'd like to have a motion, please, for acceptance. Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Rolando. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Shield. Was that you? No, by Ms. Everett. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Notice regarding ex parte communications. Please be advised that this board is a quasi-judicial board, and the items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature, which requires board members to disclose all ex parte communications. An ex parte communication is defined as any contact, communication, conversation, correspondence, memorandum, or other written or verbal communication that takes place outside a public hearing between a member of the public and a member of the quasi-judicial board regarding matters to be heard by the quasi-judicial board. If anyone has made any contact with a board member when the issue comes before the board, the member must state on the record the existence of the ex parte communication, the party who originated the communication, and whether the communication will affect the board member's ability to impartially consider the evidence to be presented regarding the matter. Deferrals. We have several deferrals on the agenda today. The first being case file LDH 2026-01 for 1315 Genoa Street. The second deferral is under special certificates of appropriateness, case file COA SP 2025-019. The last deferral is also under the certificates of appropriateness, case file COA SP 2026-16 for property located at 4400 Palmerito Street. Okay.
Just, if I may, to be clear, the items for 547 Alcazar and for 4400 Palmerito will be deferred to a date certain to the June 18th Historic Preservation Board meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay. If any persons in the audience will be testifying or speaking today, please rise and raise your right hand to be sworn in. That's anybody that wants to speak at all about or answer questions.
Mr. Chair, if we could please have the court reporter come on the screen and unmute themselves to swear in those members of the public who are standing here. And if we could have the cameras up. Eve, if you don't mind pulling up, if we could have the court reporter swear in those members of the public and staff who are going to be providing testimony today.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Do you all swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Everyone present and standing with their hands raised confirmed the oath.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to the first item then, please, which will be under local historic designations. We're going to deal with case file LDH 2025-004 and COA SP 2026-019. Consideration of the local historic designation for the property at 2716 Granada Boulevard, legally described as lots 12 and 13, block 15, Coral Gables, section A, plat book 5, page 102, Miami-Dade County. The applicant is also requesting the issuance of an accelerated special certificate of appropriateness and design approval for additions, alterations to the residence and site work. May we have the presentation, please?
If Ms. Gwynn could please introduce the item.
Good afternoon, Elizabeth Ewan, Historic Preservation Office Coordinator. The following presentation is a summary of the staff report. Could you please play the PowerPoint? Thank you.
The property at 2716 Granada Boulevard is before you for consideration for designation as a local historic landmark. The single-family home is located along DeSoto Plaza. Constructed in 1923, it was one of the earliest homes in Coral Gables. It was permit numbered 32 in the city. As per Article 8, Section 8-103 of the Coral Gables Zoning Code, criteria for designation of historic landmarks, a local historic landmark must have significant character, interest, or value as part of the historical, cultural, archaeological, aesthetic, or architectural heritage of the city, state, or nation. For designation, a property must meet one of the criteria outlined in the code. 2716 Granada Boulevard is eligible as a local historic landmark based on 3 criteria. Historical cultural significance, criteria 4. It exemplifies the historical, cultural, political, economic, or social trends of the community. Architectural significance, criteria 1. It portrays the environment and era of history characterized by one or more distinctive architectural style. And criteria 2, it embodies those distinguishing characteristics of an architectural style or period or method of construction. 2716 Granada Boulevard is a wedge-shaped lot along the northwest corner of DeSoto Plaza. It is bounded by Granada Boulevard, DeSoto Boulevard, and Sevilla Avenue. Extensive trees and landscape vegetation spread across the front of the yard facing DeSoto Fountain. On the property is an approximately 5,900 square foot single-family residence and a pool. They are set back from the streets and are nestled in the northwest corner of the lot. The front-facing 1- and 2-story bays across the front are the original 1923 home, which retains its original style and character to present. Coral Gables was originally conceived as a suburb of Miami and attracted investors from across the nation during the South Florida real estate boom of the 1920s. Founder George Merrick drew from the Garden City and City Beautiful movements of the 19th and early 20th century to create his vision for a fully conceived Mediterranean-inspired city, which is now considered one of the first modern planned communities in the United States. The city's developmental history is divided into 3 major historical periods. During the initial developmental period, architectural design specifically combined elements commonly used in Spanish, Moorish, and Italian architecture, and is now known as the Mediterranean Revival style. 2716 Granada Boulevard is one of the earliest homes of the initial developmental phase and is a prime example of Merrick's vision. During the initial development, construction was handled by Merrick's Coral Gables Construction Company. However, as sales and land acquisition surged, Merrick's own workforce could not keep pace. By late 1922, Merrick carefully chose a few select contractors to work under the general oversight of his company. The Markley Construction Company was one. Markley Construction was founded and managed by the brothers James and William Markley. They were responsible for numerous high-profile projects, such as the Coral Gables Country Club, Coral Gables First School, now Coral Gables Preparatory Academy, and the Congregational Church's parsonage. The Markleys worked extensively for Merrick's design team throughout 1923 and 24 on numerous residential projects. In fact, H. George Fink had them build his own home at the corner of Castile and Columbus Boulevard. F.E. Dix, Merrick's business manager, asked them as well for his home. As seen here, a home the Markleys built with architect Hampton and Reimert on Granada Boulevard was chosen as the area's exhibition home for the National Better Homes of America Week. 2716 Granada Boulevard was built by James Markley for himself in 1923. It is recorded as permit number 32. The original plans or other early building records for the property have not been located to date. However, very early photographs provide some primary documentation of the home. The architect is unknown. However, given the date of the construction, it was a member of Merrick's original design team, since they were the only ones designing homes in Coral Gables at the time. Merrick first started selling lots in November 1921. Sales were very successful, with most of the first homes located around the Granada Golf Course, as seen in the 1925 aerial photograph here. 2716 Granada Boulevard is located at the southern boundary of Section A along Plaza de Soto. In 1923, this area was largely undeveloped. Granada Boulevard ended in front of the Markley home and wandered off to a trail to the south. The extension of Granada Boulevard from the De Soto Plaza to Bird Road occurred in the spring of 1924. In October 1924, construction of the De Soto Fountain and the plaza commenced. A block away from the home, the Coral Rock Quarry, used for many of the early homes, was being transformed to the Venetian Casino, now known as the Venetian Pool. It opened in December 1924. Hence, 2716 Granada Boulevard predated these major landmarks and established a strong Mediterranean-style presence in the area with its commanding presence on De Soto Boulevard. This home was an important piece in extending Merrick's vision south. Merrick chose to develop Coral Gables as a Mediterranean-inspired city because he felt this type of architecture harmonized best with South Florida's climate and lifestyle. The home at 2716 Granada Boulevard includes many character-defining features of the Mediterranean Revival style, which include, but are not limited to, those shown here and discussed in the designation report. Of particular note are the decorative columns supporting the arches on the original front porch bay, the belfry-inspired chimney, the combination of roof types with pitch roofs clad in barrel tile, the textured stucco, wing walls, and a Juliet balcony. The 1- and 2-story bays across the front are the original 1923 home. There was also an accessory building with a 1-story garage and a 2-story servants' quarters. These original structures are called out here in blue. In 1968, a large 1-story addition and a pool was constructed to the rear of the residence. The addition is clearly differentiated from the original 1923 home, and in this aerial photo, the 1968 addition can be easily identified by the barrel tile coping that rings it. The 1968 addition also encapsulated the original accessory building, but the original structure can still be discerned. The 1923 home was built of concrete block units and clad with textured stucco. The living space is primarily under flat roof bays with simple parapets. A protruding front porch bay and a 2-story west end bay are under gabled roofs clad in barrel tile. The current 2-piece barrel tile roof was installed in 2024. The fenestration varies in size and configuration. The arrangement of recessed windows with projecting sills is typical of the 1920s Mediterranean Revival style homes built in Coral Gables. The original windows were wooden casements with high-profile muntins. Some windows also had hopper transoms, which likewise had high-profile muntins. The date of the replacement is unknown. Much of the original living space was under the 1-story bays whose parapets are of varying heights. The western end of the residence is anchored by flat and gabled roof 2-story bay. Wing walls and parapet ornamentation are important features that provide transitions from the ground to the highest point of the home and tie the varying bays together in a unified composition. These arrangements are typical of Mediterranean Revival style homes in Coral Gables. As shown here, most of the features are extant. At the southeast and the southwest corners of the home are wing walls marked here as A and B. The smooth-faced scroll feature of the southeast wing wall is repeated on both sides of the front-facing gable of the original front porch, here as C1 and C2, as well as transitioning from the one-story parapet of the eastern bay to the adjacent 1.5-story, shown here as D. Centered at the top of the curved parapet of the two-story flat roof western section was a finial. The curved parapet is extant, but the finial has been lost over time. The home is approached by a brick walkway leading to a walled, open-aired courtyard. The courtyard is not original to the home. It was added in 1968. As seen in the 1925 historic photo, the walkway from the sidewalk originally led directly to the front entry. It was flanked by full-length casement windows with transoms. The windows are extant, but the front entry doorway was infilled. Building records indicate the doorway was blocked in 1964, and the front entry moved to the adjacent front porch. The infill outline of the original doorway is discernible in the stucco. The front entry was relocated to the western facade of the original front porch. This front-facing gabled roof bay was originally comprised of a full-length screened and arched openings. The central arches of the side facade are supported by simple classical columns. The cornice is substantial, formed by curved moldings. This ensemble is a hallmark feature of the Mediterranean Revival style in Coral Gables. In 1964, the porch was enclosed for living space. The two arched openings under the front gable were blocked up. On the exterior, the infill was recessed and the column retained. Hence, the location and the size of the original openings is easily discernible. The floor of the porch was raised to the level of the adjacent living spaces, and the bottom of the original columns were encapsulated. The arched openings of the side facades were reduced in height, and protruding sills, perhaps to match the column sleeping porch at the southwest corner of the home, were inserted. The front porch and a large window feature on the adjacent eastern bay afforded views of the DeSoto Fountain. The large window was comprised of 3 pairs of casement windows with transoms and were tied together by a common protruding sill, as well as a swooped masonry hood and smooth-faced masonry frame on each side, as seen in the historic photo on top. The feature was removed in 1968. A change in the stucco texture over the infill area is visible, hence the exact location and dimensions are discernible. The current owners would like to restore this feature, and there is sufficient historic photo documentation to do so. Another major feature of the one-story portion of the home is the belfry-inspired square chimney that rises a half-story above its parapets. It's another character-defining feature of the Mediterranean Revival style. The shoulder chimney rises along the rear facade of the 1923 portion of the home. The shouldered and semi-detached stack is now a focal point of the interior courtyard, as seen in the aerial photo. At the western end of the original 1923 home are a pair of 2-story bays under flat and side gabled roof, clad in barrel tile. They feature a sleeping porch at the southwest corner with the screened arched openings supported with a decorative column and a wing wall protruding perpendicular to the front facade. The porch was enclosed for living space at an unknown date. Above the sleeping porch is an open-air terrace. The 2nd-story open-air terrace has been enclosed with the original gable roof extended to cover a cantilevered sunroom addition. Historic photos indicate this occurred prior to 1964. The addition has a band of windows extending across its face. In the gable eaves are carved rafter tails, and similar carved corbels provide decorative supports below. Adjacent is a Juliet balcony ensemble. Historic photos show that it had French doors that opened onto a simple picket metal balcony supported by scroll brackets. By the 1940s, the doors were reduced to a pair of casement windows. Hence, this alteration occurred early, and the new arrangement may be considered historic. The home retains this arrangement. Above the assembly line, 2-piece barrel tile is decoratively arranged, mimicking a shallow hood. In 1968, Merle and Carrot Savitt purchased 2716 Granada Boulevard and hired architect Carson Bennett Wright to substantially expand the home to the rear. The 1923 home, however, remains clearly defined and differentiated from the addition by location, massing, and styling. Also original to the property were the accessory buildings to the northwest of the resident. It was comprised of a one-story garage with the two-story servants' quarters. It is extant, but it's incorporated into the 1968 addition. The building retains its massing and is discernible from the surrounding addition. Hence, while the addition impacts the original buildings overall, they do not adversely impact the historic integrity of the property. The flat-roofed, one-story 1968 addition is built of cement block. It provided living space to the rear and a new attached garage, which was placed directly in front of the 1923 garage. While the windows of the 1923 home are casement with divided lights and positioned to facilitate cross-ventilation, the fenestration of the 1968 addition, as seen here, are large, clear view windows and doors, as well as sliding glass doors. Thus, the addition has a different character and is clearly defined from the 1923 original home. In conclusion, the single-family residence at 2716 Granada Boulevard is located on a prominent location along DeSoto Plaza. Constructed in 1923, it is designed in the Mediterranean Revival style and is amongst the earliest homes in the city. It was permit number 32. Founder George Merrick felt that Mediterranean architecture harmonized best with South Florida's climate and lifestyle. During the 1920s, Merrick's development team paid careful attention to ensure buildings and streetscapes conformed to the Mediterranean ideals. Merrick's success in carrying out his vision during the early 1920s was staggering. Coral Gables is now considered one of the first modern planned communities in the United States. Part of that early team were the Markley brothers, James and William, whose Markley Construction built numerous early and high-profile projects for Merrick, including the Coral Gables Country Club, the community's first school, and many high-profile residences. This home, at 2716 Granada Boulevard, was built by James Markley for himself and is a prime example of the early Mediterranean Revival-style homes of the early 1920s that launched Merrick's vision. The property at 2716 Granada Boulevard retains its historic integrity and significantly contributes to the historic fabric of Coral Gables. It is part of a collection of quality residences built during the land boom era that contributes to the city's sense of place of time. Staff approves the approval of the local historic designation of 2716 Granada Boulevard based on its historical, cultural, and architectural significance.
Mr. Maxwell, if
Are
we
there
could
any
please.
questions for staff or yes, for the board? If not, we'll open this up for discussion. Got anything here? Okay.
I do want to recognize that we did receive a letter of support for the designation from Correlia Carbonell on behalf of the HPACG.
Thank you. As an ex parte, I live across the street on Granada. Won't affect my opinion. It's a great house. Okay. Would the applicant or the architect like to come up and speak? Thank you.
Mr. Maxwell, through the chair. Do we want to take the historic designation first and then do the COA, or do them together? My recommendation would be to do the designation first.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do need to have a motion on the designation first, otherwise we will or will not hear
Oh, okay,
the certificate
great,
of
yeah.
appropriateness. So
Give us a second. Okay, do you want to have a motion then? Hello? Well, we got public comments already, right?
Is there anyone else from the public or on Zoom here
Anyone
to
here
speak
wish
about
to speak for or against this proposal? Hearing none?
I'll move it. I'd like to move to approve the historic designation of the property at 2716 Granada Boulevard.
Thank you. We have a motion by Ms. Ebert,
I'll second.
Ms. Shield.
I think that was Miss Alvarez. Was it?
Correct.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Miss Alvarez
Oh, Ms.
seconded.
Alvarez, I'm sorry. Okay.
May I have
Any further discussion?
a request to the mover, if you can state the criteria under which you're making the motion, please?
I move to approve the local historic designation of the property at 2716 Granada Boulevard, legally described as lots 12 and 13, Block 14, Coral Gables, Section A, based on its historical, cultural, and architectural significance.
Motion clarified. Any further discussion or comments? If not, can we call the roll?
Please. Go ahead.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Ms. Rolando? Yes. Ms. Spain? Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia Pons?
Yes.
Ms. Ebert?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. Junay?
Yes.
And Mr. Maxwell?
Yes, motion carries unanimously for the designation. All right.
I have a question. Did we approve the March minutes or did we just approve the April minutes?
I'm sorry.
I think we approved the April minutes, but we also had on the agenda to approve March. What is
We-
that?
we-
I'm
We
asking.
only got one set of minutes.
No,
Oh.
Mr. Maxwell, unfortunately, this time we do have two sets of minutes. One of them was amended based on conversations that we had at the last Historic Preservation Board meeting, so we have two sets of minutes to approve.
Okay, well, we've already finished this thing here then, so let's go ahead and we'll pull that up again. So
We can take that up whenever you all would
Yeah.
like.
April, so we have an approval for the April minutes. Mr. Garcia Pons, you're making a motion?
We have April, we need March.
Oh, we need to March. Okay, sorry, I got that reversed. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for March 12th, 2026 as revised.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Shield. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Ebert. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. We have a deferral for SP 2519 and Alcazar. and
There's
so-
the accelerated COA for the 2716 Granada. The accelerated COA for 2716 Granada.
Coming up. Okay, oh, that's right, the accelerated COA. Okay.
CGTV, if we could have the presentation, please?
Yeah.
It's the PDF. Thank you. So we do have an application for accelerated COA for 2716 Granada. The applicant is requesting design approval for additions, alterations to the residence and site work. As you all heard with the designation report, you are familiar with the property. We are aware that there have been modifications to the property, and we are enthused that the architect has taken on the task to kind of bring those alterations back in line with the design and style of the building. There's also a small addition at the rear of about less than 300 square feet, and we just asked that the architect worked with staff on some of the window and door configurations to make them to be more in line with the original style of the building. And here is Mr. Gibb to present the project. Up, down, and then there's a laser pointer, I guess.
Hello, Callum Gibb, architect for 2716 Granada.
You did the house across the street, which hasn't been constructed yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
You're getting famous here at DeSoto
well,
Circle.
one of my first ever projects was actually Dr. Lai's house, which is on the piece of land where the Venetian pool is. So this is my third house viewing the fountain. Don't know why, but that's how it worked out. So yes, we have a beautiful home that has had extensive renovations over the years. And the main goal of the work we're proposing is to sort of blend those a little closer to the original style of the house. The 1960s edition has a clay tile, but it's a mansard, so it's a flat roof. It slopes down, creating sort of a low sort of eyebrow that wraps around the house. And so, along with some interior renovations, we're kind of just sort of thinking of a way to how to better marry those two together. And the general thought was that we would take off the mansard overhang and reinstall a built-up parapet so we can then insulate the house better from above with some thicker insulation on the roof, modify the water through some drainage. But generally, here in the front elevation, you can see the little garage on the side there. It has a sort of mansard eyebrow feel. And then we're just going to remove that, extend the parapet, and put a small barrel tile detail. On the front elevation also, we were requesting to reinstate the two main windows of the front porch so that porch now has the glass on all three sides. As was stated, that's where the front door has been moved to. Also, there was a sort of a privacy sort of courtyard created at that time, which we want to remove in its of height, but just lower it down to a small 3 or 4 foot high wall, just as a sort of keeping the little brick courtyard behind it, but opening up the front facade to a bit more view. At the moment, it's quite sort of hidden from the street. And along those lines also was the idea of looking into replacing the window above the Juliet balcony with a door, so that element is reinstated. So that center body of the house, which has, other than the front door, has remained unchanged, can sort of become the view from the street. The sort of enclosed eyebrow, or sort of, I think it was to the left there, which was done at some point, is not as attractive as the original porch. So the idea was to try and focus the view to those. The area to the right of the porch is the old location of the large 3-bay window, which was blocked up, and we're planning to try and keep that filled in. But the owner is interested in opening up. This is the view sort of more from Granada as you turn around to the right. So the idea is to open up the end of what will become the media room, so they look out onto the garden, but keeping the blocked up window to the faces of this fountain. So that at the moment there's 2 large casement windows with a solid wall in between, and the idea was to emulate the old window but in a new location. To the right of that is a new French door leading out of the new dining room. And then as you come around to the side, you can see what was the old 2-story element of the house, which we're also sort of trying to soften its edges a little bit. It's a bit of a cube that just sticks up. So the idea was to add a window, crenellate the parapet a little bit, and also you can see how much of the mansard were taken off here. So that flat mansard, which creates a very low ceiling to the covered porch, we'll take that off, raise the ceiling, and change the framing of that so that we create a more lighter, higher structure. And then at the end of that sort of block is the new master bathroom addition, which basically doubles the size of the existing master bathroom. And then we're putting a hip roof on that, again, to sort of emulate the bookending of the house with some roof structures. As we move around to the rear, you see the master bathroom addition, more of the mansard evidence of that coming off, and a few added details. This is the side elevation to the west, which remains pretty much the same, other than the fact that the mansard roofs have changed. This is just a little detail of how we're going to change the section of the mansard roof over the porch. You can see it's sort of low and rather heavy to something much smaller and lighter, along with changing the sliding glass doors. They're in large 8-foot wide openings with just, and they also have a corner which they created as a glazed corner. So we're sort of filling that in, resizing the elements and putting some divided lights on some 3-bay sliders. Window schedule, and I think that's it. But so in all, really the impact on the main house, we feel we're adding back some original features, and then to the previous addition, we're trying to sort of get it a little closer and sort of less jarring, should we say, in its context. And that's really it. So other than that, and some interior renovations, planning and changing rooms and things like that, but that's really the scope of the project. Do you have any questions?
Questions?
Does the applicant have any objections to the conditions in the staff report?
Yes. The main one being
Perhaps
that...
you could explore them with us.
Well, I think the main one would be to get your feeling on the changing of the windows in the main original part of the house, going from 2 separated casements to a single 3-bay casement overlooking the garden. I think that's the one element that was picked out. And I think that's the one that we would like to, it sort of helps us. We're going to use that room as a media room. So they've got some artwork sort of a built-in, and this gives them a lot of light into what, into a sort of a long orientation of a room that runs from this point all the way through to the 2-story element. So it would be a really nice vista to look down that hallway inside the house, and it sort of ends in a garden view. If you sort of, if you come in off the porch, you sort of enter this center foyer area. You've got a main living to the left, and to the right of this new room. And we just think it would be much nicer to see that out to the view that way. I don't know if you have any particular charge on that.
Is there any way that can you go back to the elevation?
Yeah.
Yes.
So is there any way that you could accomplish the same thing but keep the 2 existing windows in the same location and add maybe another window in between? So that at least the location of the 2 original windows are still in the same
yes,
location?
The wall between the windows is about 5 feet or so. So you would be able to create a maybe a bit more than that. But yes, there is room to put a 3rd window. The question is how wide that masonry column between the 2 would be. It would.
I don't know. I mean,
it's going to be around 16 to 18 inches, maybe. But I'm just looking at if you look at where the vents right now are centered on that window, so maybe half of a window is between them, so that would be 18 inches.
That might look odd, but
I think this would look better, but
yeah, I understand what you mean.
And the thought was that he had this big window facing the fountain, and then this would be in the same scale as that. So it's sort of a bringing back, as Anna described it, a period appropriate detail. It's for a different detail, but I thought I liked the phrase. So, so that the thought was to get like I say, to give that nice light vista through into the garden from as you come in.
And I guess it wouldn't be acceptable to staff to do a large window in there, so that becomes a whole big window with one large window, but still with those 2 sides existing. I'm not sure I would like that, but
no, I mean certainly not. The thought was if you just take out that wall, then you run into the modulational changes, right? You end up with 4 windows probably, not 3. You'd have to change the outside lines would line up. But the benefit of doing this is that we're going to need to reinforce that opening. And here we can just infill the area which used to be window. We can now infill it. And we don't have to concern ourselves too much with the existing wall. But I think it is the one change we're doing to the existing structure.
Other questions? Mr. Garcia Ponce.
Thank you. I think it's lovely. I think it's a great job. I actually don't have a problem with that window and or number 3, which is the French doors in the back. So
Okay, good.
from my point of view to my board mates, I think the comment or staff conditions 1 through 10, minus 3 and 4, I'd be very much in favor of.
As far as the French doors, the owner, is really wanting those openings to stay wide. So as soon as you go to a French door, then you have to reduce it down to, they're only 6'8", so then a 6-foot door looks kind of squatty. So then you want to go to a 5, and now you've lost 3 feet of light. So they were thinking maybe they could do a sort of a folding door, but
if I wasn't clear, I was saying that I support removing those 2 conditions.
yeah, that would be great. I would appreciate that.
Mr. Silva.
Thank you. I agree with Cesar. I think it's a good project. I think what you're doing along that existing mansard roof is very well done. I think it's a clever way of getting more height and kind of harmonizing that 1968 addition with the rest of the house, and you're differentiating it enough by that tile detail from the rest of the house, which is a very plain parapet. So I think that's working very well. In terms of the other conditions, I agree with Cesar on the sliding glass doors. I think that since that addition is from 1968, I know we're kind of marrying the 2 styles, but I'm okay with the sliding glass doors. On the other condition for the family room, I land with Donna. I think that maybe you could explore keeping those 2 windows and adding a third as kind of a compromise, and that way you're keeping the 2 existing masonry openings there. You get the light that you want into that room, but I think it could be done. I think you could insert a third window in the center and make it work.
Is that something that we would work with staff on, or is that be I guess it'd be.
It depends on the motion.
It might be on the
That's
motion.
just my opinion, but
I would think you could work with staff on that.
Yeah, that was our recommendation in the report.
That when working with staff, that means if it looks best like this, I can do this.
That's up to
Well,
staff.
that depends on the motion also.
And the motion. But I will tell you,
and Kara made a good point, is that it may not need to be concrete walls. It could be like a steel mold tube or something in between to let you have the space needed for the third window, to have the separation between the 3.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be something
Cesar?
to look at.
So just for the record, the comment is study the window configuration in the family room to retain the original openings and work with staff. So that is what is there.
Which you probably will. Okay.
I think Hannah
All right.
did you want?
Ms. Alvarez, did you have a comment?
For the record, I wanted to state that I had interviewed for this project, but I don't have a voting conflict, so I just wanted to put that out there. No, I think it's a great project. I've seen the house and I saw the challenges, so I think this is a great improvement, and it'll have more presence in the street and along the fountain. I'm okay with the window configuration. I could see it working both ways, but I see the challenges. So I guess I agree with Cesar.
I will tell you, they're wonderful plans in a very difficult configuration.
Yes.
But
funky
the
shape.
plans are amazing.
It's very tricky.
It's very tricky, and you did a really good job.
Thank you.
Any comments, Ms. Dene?
I agree with removing the conditions 3 and 4.
Ms. Everett?
I love that you're returning the house back. It's just wonderful. I've driven by this house 100 times. I loved reading the history of it, that Ricky Nelson slept there at some point, being a child of that age. Anyway, it's a wonderful project.
Thank you.
Ms. Shield, any comments?
I'm glad that you opened up the front and took down the wall, the privacy area. I think that just is going to change the house dramatically from the front elevation. And I don't have very strong feelings about the French doors, but I do kind of agree with the original configuration for the family room.
All right. Well, I mean, it's an excellent plan, as always. You always do a good job. Thank you. And is there any further questions? If not, we'll close this part of the hearing, and we'll move to public comments. If there is any, does anyone wish to speak for or against this? Did we receive any information? Having received none, no one in the audience, so we'll close that and come back to the board for a motion. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, board. Let's hear it. Mr. Garcia Pons, how about a motion? Oh, wait a minute. All right.
Yeah, okay. I just need it. I move that we approve with the conditions noted in the staff report, excluding. I move that we approve with the conditions noted in the staff report, excluding item 3. The issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness for the plans submitted to the board.
We have a motion by Ms. Rolando. Second?
I'll second.
Ms. Ebert, go ahead.
Ms. Ebert, go ahead. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Alvarez?
No.
I'm sorry?
That was a no.
Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia Pons?
Yes.
Ms. Spain?
I'm thinking.
Sorry.
I'm going to say no.
What did you say?
No.
Okay. Ms. Ebert?
Will someone clarify? We're voting to approve.
So my understanding of Mr. Rolando's motion is a motion to approve the design proposal and issue the special certificate of appropriateness with all of the conditions in the staff report minus the condition regarding the sliding glass door, which means that there's no need to consider the French door. They can remain with the sliding glass door in the proposal, but it does retain the condition regarding exploring alternatives for the original window openings in the family room.
That's correct.
Thank you. So a yes is approving that minus condition number 3.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. You continue, please.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Rolando?
Yes.
Ms. Dene?
No.
And Mr. Maxwell?
Yes.
The motion passes 6-3.
Thank you. You're good.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the next item here. We are going to, the next item is, has been deferred, case file COASP 2025-019, 547 Alcazar Avenue has been deferred to the next meeting. Let's see here. You folks are from Alhambra? Okay, let's move the Alhambra up to the second, to the next item, please. Okay, can we have that presentation? For the case file SP 2026-017, 1008 Alhambra Circle.
I like that, where we're sitting compared to that image there.
Could we get the PowerPoint on, please?
Me too.
We did move it.
Ms. Bonilla,
you know
we're going to
George
have to get the
Volsky?
clerk to
This is
do
his
another swearing in for the next one. Okay.
Thank you. This is the location map of the property in question. It's right off Granada Boulevard at the intersection of Granada and Alhambra Circle. It was designed in 1937 by architect William Merriam. It's a contributing resource within the Alhambra Circle Historic District and has very few alterations that have been made to it, with the exception of a small addition in 1956 to the rear. This is the 1940s photo, probably very shortly after it was built. The scope of work in the application includes construction of a one-story addition to the southeast corner of the home, construction of a two-story addition to the southwest corner of the home, construction of an approximately 125 square foot one-story addition to the west of the existing garage, new impact windows and doors, full interior remodeling, and pretty extensive site work. They have requested no variances from the zoning code of this property. The Board of Architects did review. They had some conditions to look at possibilities. Those were, I believe, not incorporated into this set with staff's support. One of them being the introduction of corner windows that we did not feel was something that we wanted to replicate on an addition when they were so prominent on the existing house. We do have a bunch of staff conditions as part of the approval. And there were also 2 letters of support for the project that were provided in your agenda documents. So I would like to turn it over to the architect as well. We do recommend approval with the conditions noted.
Mr. Maxwell, may I ask a question of staff?
Yes, please.
So condition number 6 says to include BOA comment number 3. Is that?
Yes. Yes. That one was not, yeah, that one we do want them to do. You weren't sworn in, right? Were you sworn in? You were not sworn. Yep, he needs to be sworn in.
Could the court reporter please swear in the presenter, please?
Let's get everybody while we're here. Vinny, are you and your folks, any of you going to talk?
Yeah,
that came
Mr.
in
Pozo
later?
will also need to be sworn
If
in.
you're going to speak, please stand up and be sworn in. Mr. Torrey, you're going to remain silent?
Oh, I didn't see him.
The world of remote working. Think of it like the Army. Hurry up and wait.
One moment, please.
Can you hear me now?
Here we go.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we ready to do the swear-in?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nelson.
Good afternoon, board members, staff. Nelson De Leon, Locus Architecture, presenting 1008 Alhambra. With me today are the owners, the new owners, Alex and his wife Lindsay, which I think they want to say a couple of words before I start. And this home has been in their family for about 60 years. Yeah. So they have inherited this from their grandfather as a gift and are now in the process of restoring the home and bringing it up to their family standards, plus all the modern amenities that we've grown accustomed to in our new world.
That's very nice.
You want to say a few things first? Yeah, okay. So I'll let him give himself a little intro and then I'll take over.
And please, thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Alex Volsky. I'm the grandson of George Volsky. So thank you for your time and consideration today to allow me to speak. My family and I are very honored to be here and presenting the plans that will hopefully be our future home for many years to come. My grandfather purchased his house in 1970 and he lived there until he passed away in 2023 at the age of 102. My brothers and I have very fond memories of the home, going there as young children and adults and bringing our families as they've grown throughout the years. And it's always been a very special place for our family. One of my grandfather's final wishes was that the home would pass to one of his grandchildren, with the hope that we'd be able to restore it and expand on it, while maintaining the appropriateness and the historical significance of the home. And it's a privilege that I am able to be the grandson to bring this presentation before all of you. And we're excited about the opportunity of making this home truly a landmark piece in Coral Gables. We do have some very modest requests that are not reflected in the plans that Nelson is presenting today. One of the requests that we're hoping to ask for is expansion of the garage. The garage was built in its original state when the home was constructed, and it's not really meant to fit, modern vehicles of this time. We would like to expand the entrance of the garage as well as the interior dimension of it to be able to accommodate 2 vehicles, so that we're not parking it outside of the home. And this is for safety purposes for our family and our children as well. And we're planning on building a perimeter wall around the home. Currently, from my understanding, is a perimeter wall can be up to 4 feet in height. We're asking if this could possibly be extended to a little bit higher, up to 5 feet for privacy purposes. I understand if that's a difficult ask to do. And lastly, there's a circular Art Deco window on the, I guess, the northeast side of the home, in what will be our future kitchen. We would like to preserve the window exactly as it exists, both in style and size, while relocating it a little bit higher and more central so that it fits the interior layout of the home. I appreciate the board's time, and we look forward to working with you alongside this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Nelson, would you like to make your presentation?
Okay, so let's take a look at the home as it exists now, and then I'll take you through with the proposed plans. The home is set to the western edge and northern edge of the property, with a very large rear yard and a very large eastern yard along the Granada side. The home is the center bottom image, and a few contextual images. This neighborhood has a number of 1- and 2-story homes, along with a number of historically designated homes. The house as it currently exists, starting on the upper right, is a view from the Granada Street. The circular window that Alex just mentioned, that's part of what was originally a screened enclosed room, and now it's a small sort of loggia space. Bottom right, the front elevation viewed from Alhambra. Bottom left, viewed from Alhambra again. And then at the upper left is the rear of the home. We had the opportunity to look at Miriam's original drawings, so we're fortunate to have the floor plans, which have changed very little from the original design, both on the first floor and the second floor. And we also had a number of elevations and sections to inform us of what the intent was, and almost with very few exceptions, the home was designed as shown on the drawings. And I think the only changes that have occurred since this home was built was, if you look at the upper center portion of the home, to the right is a very large chimney feature, which was taken down. And then at the bottom image, which is the front elevation, the central portion of the second floor originally had a glass block element that was removed and replaced with the current banding that exists on that level. And then at the bottom right, the garage doors, which were originally designed as a 16 rectangular bays, was changed to something that was now, I think, maybe 24 bays. So other than that, most of the home's design as planned and as shown on these photos is how it was built. The drawings, I have reversed the order just to bring the front elevation to the bottom, so this is not what you just saw on the upper drawing, on the first drawing of the survey. Well, let me go back a moment. So the areas that are shaded, which is the upper right corner behind the garage, and just beyond the curved sunroom, the original screened enclosure, which is now a covered loggia, enclosed AC area. Those are the two areas that we're going to either remove or be modified. The remainder of the home will remain as originally designed. The main portion of the addition of the home is tucked behind the garage to the west, and to a smaller extent, the current loggia is expanded to house now the new kitchen, and we'll see this in the floor plans, and a new covered terrace. The existing first floor, the areas that are dashed are the areas that are being removed or remodeled. The proposed new floor. So we're trying to extend this new two-story addition and touch the existing home with the least amount of disruption. So that semicircular stair that you see in the middle, that is the connection point between the main house and the new two-story addition. And then on the left side where the great room is and the sunroom, that is a direct extension of the loggia, doubling in size, becoming the new kitchen, and then a new covered dining terrace looking into the pool area. The second floor is a very small footprint, 2 bedrooms, so the connection to the second floor will be the little closet that's on the upper right of that second floor portion. So where that closet is, that's where we connect to the new stair. I'm introducing a little notch between the new two-story and the existing two-story to keep the massing, and you'll see this in the 3Ds, more in keeping with the scale of the original home. The overall proposed roof plan, the shaded areas being the new. The upper image is the houses that exist. The middle and all of these will be the areas demolished, shown in dashed. And then the bottom is the new proposed. In the historical staff report, there's mention of the door. The main entry door has an ornate tile pattern that we're going to keep. The door itself, we weren't sure if it was historic or not. I think staff wasn't sure if it was historic or not. So we'll work with staff on what the final front door look will be. The rest of the house, the only other change is that second floor that used to have a glass block. Owners would like to have a window system that matches the rest of the house. Staff report has indicated they prefer to see the glass block reintroduced, so that's something that we can discuss at the end of the presentation. The garage door, which Alex mentioned, which is undersized and tight. On this drawing, we had actually increased it by 6 inches on either side. So the drawing that you see here, the front elevation, reflects the slight increase in the width of the garage door. The front wall, and I apologize, I'm not sure why these images are so light, but we'll be able to see the front wall in greater detail on the 3D. But in essence, we're picking up the 4-foot-high wall that's along the Granada. We're bringing that up until we meet the home. That is going to be part of our pool life safety enclosure. At that point, we step the wall down from 4 feet down to 30 inches, allowing as much visibility to the original home as possible. And at the new driveway, there'll be no gate. It'll be a wider entrance, but without an entry gate. We will have a pedestrian gate, though, at the new wall location. A view of the rear as it exists and as proposed. And the west elevation. I think these are going to explain much better as the elevation drawings are coming out so light in this room. So this is the home as it exists today. And this is the proposed, showing the low wall the new second floor addition tucked behind the existing garage. So the new second floor starts at 20 feet back from the face of the garage. And then between the existing two-story home and the new, I introduced that notch just to break down the massing of the roof. This is an aerial view of the existing, looking at it from the northeast corner. And then the proposed showing the new walls. The majority of the, or not the majority, but the entirety of the second floor addition is tucked to the west and rear of the property. And then off that circular sunroom is the expansion of the new kitchen with the outdoor dining. Here's another view of the front of the house from the northeast corner and the proposed. So from this angle, we actually don't see the second floor, but we do see how the wall interacts with the house and how we close off the yard for the pool safety with a picket fence that lightly connects to the existing home. A view of the rear of the home currently and our proposed. We introduced a pool that picks up the shape of the sunroom. So when you see this semicircular end of the pool, it's a nod to the historic home, which has a circular sunroom, which is actually light-filled and quite lovely. The two extensions on the ground level are two covered terraces. So directly adjacent to the pool is a covered dining terrace, and at the front end of the pool is a covered terrace off the family room. The master bedroom projects above the terrace and then has sliding doors that open onto a balcony. Again, picking up the imagery of the curve, the balcony itself has curved edges. This is a view of the back and a view of the proposed with the two new courtyard, rather covered terraces extending out to the pool, a new pool courtyard introduced in the home, and then the second floor shifted to the western edge of the property. That is our presentation. Do you have any questions?
Okay, board. Thank you, Nelson. Well, Mr. Silva.
Just a quick question before we get into discussion, Nelson. The Board of Architects condition that staff would like to see incorporated, can you go over that?
There were three conditions. One of the members had suggested possibly introducing additional corner windows to the project. And we discussed this with staff and felt that the main house had corner windows only in the front elevation.
Mm-hmm.
And we felt that rather than introduce a number of corner windows that would compete with that, is just let the historical home have its corner windows at the front and then treat the addition without any corner windows. The other suggestion they had was that the home inside has a subtle curvilinear detail at various transitions. So we picked up that detail and introduced it at the covered terraces. The drawing you see here, the rendering, is how it was presented to the board. The board made a suggestion that we should flatten them out so that they looked a little less Mediterranean. So we really had no issue with that. So on the elevations, we flattened those out and they're not as pronounced as what you see on this rendering. And we thought that was a good suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Their third comment, Kara, I don't recall if you have.
It was about the parapet at the stair. At the stair?
Just, I'm sorry, for the Zoom court reporter.
Consider a possible parapet at the stair in the front elevation.
So that comment involves, so if you see the tucked in to the sort of courtyard that's created between the addition, 1-story and 2-story, where I introduced the semicircular stair, there's a small pitched roof above that connects the main house to the addition. One of the board members had asked us to study if that condition should it just be flat between the two. We felt that having the the low pitch connection created a stronger connection between the existing and the new. We looked at having a flat, and we could like travel back here to the front 3D view. So that's the little notch that you see between the two. That's the element that one of the board members had asked, could that be parapeted? So this is actually a much less visual, I'd say, connection between the two. Why? Because it's a very small fascia connection, and then that slopes away from you at the very same low slope that the rest of the house has. If we introduce a parapet, I'd have to increase that by 12 inches or so in order to create my flashing to a flat roof beyond. And I felt that that was actually more of a visual distraction than just continuing that very low slope roof and a very low connection.
Through the chair, Mr. Can you go to sheet A05, the front elevation? I think you can see it there as well. Sheet A05, the front elevation, can you show us that one? And if you zoom in, you could see what Nelson is talking about on the bottom drawing.
Oops, I think I passed it. There. So in elevation, we always have the challenge of seeing things flat that nobody can see, ever. Which is why I pointed to the rendering, which is taken at eye view from standing on the sidewalk.
Thanks.
But even here, that element is a third the size of the overall pitch, maybe a quarter the size of the overall pitch, just because it's such a small area that is being tiled.
Mr. Silva.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah, I agree with kind of the decision to proceed as you did. My question though is so one of them was dealing with elongating kind of those scalloped edges. So you have, in this presentation, you have elongated them somewhat from the BOA presentation.
Yes, on the elevations.
But staff still has a concern? I just want to be clear what staff's concern is or what the recommendation is on this.
On the terrace of the southwest addition, they don't look like they're there. Like they don't look like they've been elongated. On the kitchen terrace, they're elongated, but not on the other one. So I just want to make sure they're consistent on both.
Yeah,
There's a long enough.
We may have missed one, but we'll work with staff to make sure that the proportions of that detail is in keeping with architectural integrity.
Could you zoom in?
What it is?
Yeah,
It's hard to,
I'm sorry.
what sheet it's on.
I can't follow.
Where's that detail?
Other questions?
5.3.
I don't know if this has pointer or not. CGTV, could you please go to 5.3?
So on 5.3, it looks like the
Wait, go-
main
go.
kind of porch was elongated and maybe the porch off the kitchen was not. I guess that's what the question is.
Yes,
Yeah, right, right.
a drafting miss.
No, that's fine. But your intent is to comply. You have no objection to that.
No, I have no objections to that.
Okay.
I actually thought that it was a good comment to elongate them.
Yeah, it looks better, I think, elongated as well. Right, thanks.
Through the
Ms.
chair.
Shield, do you have any comments or questions?
I did have a question about the garage. The owner made a comment about the garage. Is that incorporated in these plans that we're looking at?
It is on this elevation right
Nelson,
here.
please speak closer to the microphone. Thank you.
So this elevation here, you'll see on the middle drawing where I've indicated in a dashed shading line, a 6-inch removal of concrete in order to expand the garage door just an extra foot to give them the room to get 2 cars in. It's
no-
still a tight garage.
What was submitted to them does not show that. Correct?
Oh, well, maybe. I think what we sent you as a PowerPoint may have,
Right, but the drawings that are attached to the agenda do not show that.
okay.
So so the drawings that we're voting on are the ones we have? Okay. And also, the paving in the front yard removes a lot of the grass. It just, to me, it kind of disturbs the front elevation, removing so much grass and putting so much paving. But I'm just going to make that
So
comment.
let me get to that. So landscape-wise, we are at least 2 times beyond the minimum required. The paving in the front yard is always a challenge, and particularly on this site. Because Alhambra Circle has no swale to park in the front, you have to come onto the property. So the challenge is, and this goes back to the garage, was making it comfortable to get their 2 cars in, and then when friends come over, get 2 and maybe 3 cars onto your property. Otherwise, you have to drive around and park on the very large swale that's on Granada and then come back over to the home. So yes, there's more paving than before. And part of that was the challenge of what do you do when somebody comes over to visit? And that was how I reacted to that, was to try and add a little bit more paving there to make it more comfortable. But as a nod to keeping that as open as possible, and the owners agreed, we pushed the low walls further out and there'll be no driveway gate. So visually it's open. So yes, you see more paving, but at the same time, we try to maintain the openness of that.
Thank you.
Ms. Everett, any comments?
It's going to be a big house.
Yes.
It'll be a big house. Ms. Janae?
So I also had a question about the garage expansion, because it looks like because of the garage expansion, you're having to also expand the drive opening, and you've added extra space, which again takes away from the greenery in the front. But can you explain to us, because I didn't see any detail on how much are you actually expanding, how much wider?
So the
and-
garage
and
physically.
also the drive area.
Yeah,
how
the
much you're
garage
expanding
physically
that.
does not change shape.
Okay.
What we're doing is we're adding a notch that's a storage room in essence, because the garage itself is roughly, you couldn't build it at today's standards in width and depth. So there's a garage. Let me see if I could just take you to the plan.
So the width is not changing.
So if you see on the bottom right, pushed back 5 feet from the garage face is a roughly 7 by 15 storage room that's added to the garage on the side. Yeah, so it's not that the garage is expanding, is that there's a little storage area added, pushed back from the front.
Ms. Count?
What he says expansion, he means expanding the garage door opening
Right.
on all 3 sides.
The opening.
Yes, not the actual garage.
Okay, so because when I'm looking at some pictures, it looks like the opening is bigger.
Please speak up.
No, the inside of the garage stays.
Okay, what about, you could just help me out, how much is the opening increasing?
So
Couple
the
feet?
the current garage door is, I think, a little bit under 16 feet. And this would take it to a foot more, so almost 17 feet.
Okay.
So 16 feet is not an unusual garage door size. What happens is typically the garage width is 22 feet or more. So as you get in, you have room to open the doors. In this case, it's 16 plus so the 2 cars come in tight and then you're tight already. So this just allows a little bit of separation so that the driver on the right can open their door and get out.
Okay, there was a good picture in the architectural plans that I think shows more of the distinction that I was looking at, with more concrete in the front area as well. My only other question would be mainly for staff. So do you want me to address that now?
Please give a
Okay,
staff question.
Staff, sorry, can I ask you guys a question? What are your thoughts, since I guess this is the first time we're addressing this, about the expansion of the garage and the driveway areas, and also the 5-foot perimeter wall? Those would be my two concerns.
So let me see if I can address all three of the requests. So the first one about the expansion of the, is it on? It's on. Just stick my face into this. So the expansion of the garage door opening is not something we normally want to see. It's already a double wide garage door. And we normally want to leave the front facade alone. So not having seen what the elevations would actually look like, it's not something we generally support. The second request was the circular window on the loggia, and that is a signature feature of this home. And we had already mentioned to them that we wanted it to see exactly where it was. It's a pretty important piece of this house. The third request is about the site wall, and I'm not sure I understand what you want at 5 feet. Do you want the new wall that you're adding to be at 5 feet, or to add to the existing wall?
I'm going to have Alex answer that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where that is.
So code, basically, just so you're all aware, code allows you a 4-foot high masonry wall. That's standard across residential neighborhoods. You can add above that another 2 feet of metal pickets or some decorative metal design. Alex's request, I believe, was to increase the wall height overall to 5 feet?
No.
I'm sorry, can we please use the microphone for the Zoom, the court reporters on Zoom, and so
sorry.
we need to be able to transcribe the meeting. Thank you.
As you all know, the corner of Alhambra Circle and Granada is a very, very pedestrian-heavy location in Coral Gables. People walking to the golf course, 4-foot height wall. We were hoping to see if we could get that increased a little bit to add for further privacy of our home, as well as safety purposes as well. I mean, that was mainly the reason.
Have you thought
why.
about landscaping it?
Sorry?
Rather than raising the wall? You don't have people jumping over the wall, do you?
But we were thinking about putting landscaping behind the wall to further add to that.
Mr.
That
Chair.
was the case.
Mr. Chair, if I may suggest, because we have not seen a design proposal for this, I would prefer that you all stick to the application at hand with regard to the wall, because
The wall is not included in this.
it's not included,
Okay,
and
so we're not
a
gonna
5-foot
discuss it.
masonry wall may
Not-
not be allowed by code.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No wall.
So
Alright.
I would,
Sorry about
if they
that.
want
Fine.
to come back to you all with
Yeah.
a modification to the approved, hopefully, design, then we can do that.
Through
Okay.
the chair.
So you heard what the staff said. So
Yes.
we're not going to address the wall today at all.
Perfect.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
And you can come back and make, another proposal for that.
Through the chair then. So these 3 additional conditions or requests, we are not to be considered today, number 1. Number 2, I just want to note that there were some letters of support there dated May 14th, and they include these requests. So I'm wondering why you as staff didn't receive this information earlier as well.
I can't answer that question.
But
But yeah,
Okay,
to
but
clarify.
it's just an observation.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
To clarify, the first 2, if you guys want to discuss the modification of the garage door opening, you can all visualize what that would look like. I think that's okay. But for the wall was one we would like to withdraw from this consideration.
And the circular window?
Yes. No, you can.
No, that's
Ms. Dunasia, Mr. Chair, sorry, just to be clear, those are details that I think you all can discuss today that are appropriately before you.
Okay.
The wall in particular may require a variance and needs to be examined by staff, and for that reason, I think that's why staff has requested that we address that at a later date.
Okay, thank you. And what is staff's recommendation, since we're just seeing this on the expansion of the garage?
Yeah, I think I just already answered that we are not in support of it.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Thank you.
Any further questions, Ms. Janae? All right. Ms. Rolando?
I'm emphatically opposed to a 5-foot wall around the perimeter of the home on Alhambra and Granada. I think what your architect has proposed with the lower wall along the facade on Alhambra and then stepping up around the corner and along Granada is appropriate. I live on Alhambra. I've lived on Alhambra for 35 years. I'm very familiar with the traffic pattern, and you don't need a 5-foot wall for privacy. We have people walking day and night, people and dogs, and it's just not in keeping with the neighborhood either. Nobody else has 5-foot walls.
Ms. Rolando, anything else?
That's sufficient.
We hear your argument. All right, Ms. Spain?
I have a question about the paving in the front yard. Is there still a requirement in the code for a certain percentage of landscaping in the front yard? And you meet that, right?
Yeah, we far exceeded.
Okay. Yeah, when you were talking about that, you were talking about that whatever that is, 30% in the front yard.
Correct.
Not the overall.
Well,
Okay.
both.
I'm sure you're on the
Both.
overall. I'm sure you
Yeah.
are, but I
So
just wanted to clarify.
So if you look at the yard now, and then as proposed, the paving is all concentrated obviously at the driveway and garage entrance. But from the pedestrian entrance to the front door to the left is all green except for a little paved walkway to the gate that then leads you to the backyard.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I just wanted to clarify in my mind.
Mrs. Alvarez?
So my iPad was in and out, so I'm sorry if I missed something, because I was trying to follow along at the same time and closely look at the drawings. But so I'm not sure if it's applicable, but on a project on Aragon, I had a similar condition where the garage was just too small and historic also. We were able to add about 1/6 to the length of the garage, but kept the garage door the same. So I don't know if that is an option. I mean, it's a lot of work just to gain that small area, but.
Through the chair, I think there's a lot of conversation about expanding the garage. My understanding is that the garage is not to be changed.
Right.
The garage door is being asked to be expanded by a couple of inches and a little storage room added to the garage. So if we could be clear as to what we're saying by expanding garage, it would help me very much.
I think that Anna, though, was suggesting maybe it should be.
I think it's the garage door size is what becomes more impactful than if the garage length grew, whatever that minimal dimension might be to make it useful. In the case of the project I did, I think it was 1/4, or I don't know how. If staff is open to that, I just wanted to put that out there. It was on. I agree with the BOA comments, and I guess you are already in the spirit of incorporating them. And I was going to say, as I look at the roof plan, I feel like also where the garage meets the new 2-story, you have the roof that's tapering back, kind of, so you get the. I don't know if there's an opportunity there to do a small gable that makes that connection more, kind of, I guess, logical for the pitching of the water. I know there's a lot of like puzzle pieces in getting the roof to work, so I might suggest working with staff if that's more something you can't just design like that on the spot. And I didn't understand the staff comment about the circular window insert.
If you look at the original drawings, the screen insert was a screened opening originally. If you look at the original drawings, the what's there now is not original. It's a window, obviously. But the frame, if you look at the actual frame of the existing opening, you can see where the wood inserts of the screen were. It was a much narrower profile. It's a very it fits the house better. So I would like them to go back to what was on the original screen kind of opening design for the window, and not just match what's there now.
Could I ask a follow-up on that since before we
Yeah,
leave so the existing elevations, they show that like kind of a canvas cover. So you're saying that you can see, there are still remnants on site that you can see okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I may, the owner's question regarding the circular windows, the circular window is actually very low within the size of the space. So the bottom of that circular window is only about 24 inches off the finished floor. So the idea was to keep that shape, but raise it up so that you could have a counter height underneath that window. That's where the owner's suggestion of the opportunity to move that window higher came from.
Through the chair, so the drawings that we have show it in the same location. This is a separate request. It looks like from the drawings on page
Yeah,
5.
the drawings show it exactly where it is.
Okay, and
yes, no change.
You're requesting to raise it today.
If we could keep it there, but raise it higher, yes.
Are you showing that in the plans?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
That it's being raised? It's not shown in the plans that it's being raised, is it? It says existing
No, it's not
location.
being raised on any of my drawings.
All right, then we're not
This
gonna
was after the owner had seen the drawings and we discussed new window heights. That's when it came to light that they felt that maybe it was too low within the space.
Mr. Maxwell, through the chair, what I heard from staff is that it would be okay for us to review that if we choose to. The one that they are recommending that we do not is the wall, but the other two we can if we want to.
Yeah, if it's not on the plans, Nelson, we're not going to do it today. Okay. We can discuss it, but that's it.
We can discuss it and move on it as an action. If staff wants to reiterate their position, I would love to hear it again.
Mr. Chair, my understanding was that staff is fine with you all considering the requests about the window and its location, as well as the width of the garage door. However, they're not prepared to move forward with the wall discussion, the 5-foot wall, given that they haven't seen those plans and there may be some issues with the zoning code that need to be dealt with as well.
I can ask you a question, but it is also okay if we decide not to consider those things
Yes.
right now.
That's not part of the application that was presented to
Right.
you.
Right, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Okay.
I think the same way that you alter motions and conditions, this can be included or not included as part of the application. My question for the window is what is the sill height that will be existing, and then what are you proposing? How high are you proposing to raise the window?
So the existing's at about 24, and the proposed would be 3'2", so 38.
Thank you.
To move it up 8 inches.
Can I make a motion? Are we ready? Okay.
We're getting close, but we're not ready yet. Okay. Mr. Garcia Pons, questions, discussion?
The only comment for the architect is, again, I think a lovely project. I actually agree with Board of Architect and the parapet wall connection versus the pitch connection. I understand the rationale and it's going to look fine, but I usually do prefer to highlight the connection versus not highlight the connection. So it's my personal take on that, but otherwise, I think you did a wonderful job.
Mr. Silva.
Just a general comment. I think you did a very good job, Nelson. I think it's a lot of square footage that you're adding, but you're setting it back from both of the predominant facades, right? Let's not forget that we have two major facades, right? Granada and Alhambra, and on both of them, the original one-story portion of the house is standing proud and obviously the original, right? And then the subtle moves that you're making in plan on the new additions, picking up those rounded corners on the new porches, I think are really, really beautiful. And overall, I think you've done a good job. I don't have any issues with this. I agree with you on the connection. I disagree with my colleague. I think the Gables connection is a better solution. I will go since we may or may not talk about this, but I am not in favor of moving that round window. I get it, but I think the solution you have on the plans, which is kind of a low table separate from the rest of the kitchen, I think makes sense. But I think it's important to keep that in its original location. And in terms of, there was some discussion on the paving on the front. I think, again, I'm okay with that. I think it makes sense. There's a lot of traffic on Alhambra. You're not trying to get a kind of a circular driveway. You're just asking to be able to maneuver on site. I think that makes sense. I think it's reasonable. And I think the amount of paving you're adding is a reasonable thing. And I think that the sort of compromise solution of that curved front, very low wall with no gate, I think makes sense and makes it a good space.
Thank you, Mr. Silver. Is it staff? Any further comments from the board?
I just want to thank the owners. The house is really beautiful. I think it's admirable. Your story was wonderful, how it's been passed down. So thank you.
Okay, I'm going to get a sense of the board. We're not going to deal with the
Mr.
wall or
Mr.
the
Maxwell.
garage. Oh, I'm
Just
sorry.
like to say just one
I'm sorry,
thing.
Ms. Abbott.
I knew your grandfather. Sometimes we got along, sometimes we didn't. I've been in this, I have been in this house, and I agree that I think the window that's going to be in the proposed kitchen, I'd like to see it stay the way it is now, and maybe have a round table in that round window area. This house was built in 1937. Our first house was a 1939 house, and we had a terrible time with our garage. We could really only get one car in it, and the only time we ever got two cars in it was when Hurricane Andrew was coming, and we had to crawl through the windows to get both cars into the garage. So I understand that why you want a new garage door. So.
Ms. Shield, I'm not going to forget you down there. Did you want any other comments?
No, it's going to be a beautiful home.
Yeah,
It really is. You're
big
bringing it back to life.
Okay, and that's going to pretty well close this down. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this? Is there anything? Nope, none over the internet. Okay, board, we've got it. There's a couple of issues that are here that are not part of this, and that's the perimeter wall. Okay, and then the garage door sizing is not in here as well. So the sense is that we're just going to act on what we have in the plans today. Do I have consensus on that?
Mr. Chair, I think we should wait and see what the motions are as
Okay.
it would be appropriate for those to be addressed if that's what the motion addresses.
All right. Ms. Shield, you were ready to make a motion?
Mr. Garcia Pons, was there anything you wanted to add for the parapet at the stair?
No, I think it's a preference, Alex, and
Okay.
I think it would be better, but I understand why you did it.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve the design proposal for additions and alterations to the residence located at 1008 Alhambra Circle, as a contributing resource within the Alhambra Circle Historic Landmark, and to approve with the 18 conditions and incorporate the 18 conditions in the report noted above and the issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness.
We have a motion by Ms. Shield. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
All right. Thank you.
Ms. Schill, just to confirm, the motion does not address the window or the garage door opening.
Correct.
That's fine.
Correct, it does not.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to
Yes.
ask a question on the motion. In addition to the conditions
Ms.
for
Alvarez, please speak closer.
in addition to the conditions on the staff report, in the paragraph under staff conclusion, there's a suggestion to bring back the glass block, but it's not listed as an individual item. Is that something staff was recommending?
I did not see that in the 18 conditions for the glass block.
It's not under the staff conclusion. There's a sentence with the proposed addition of the second floor window at the front facade. Staff recommends that the glass block ribbon windows be reintroduced rather than a conjectural feature be introduced.
So it was written there as a suggestion. I don't know the feasibility of actually inserting those ribbons back into the facade and if that changes their insurance requirements, if they have an NOA for the glass block. So it was a suggestion for them to explore, which the architect said he was willing to do that, hopefully, and go from there.
Do you want me to amend my
Yeah, if you
motion?
would, just amend them to say to consider the
So in
suggestion,
addition to the 18
work with staff.
conditions incorporated to also include to work with staff on their recommendations of the glass block ribbon windows to see if they can be reintroduced.
Understood. Is that amended motion seconded as well?
Yes, I second.
Thank you.
All right, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Silva?
I'm sorry, on that amended motion, I want to ask a technical question to the architect with that glass block. So right now you have that new window designated as egress. Do any of and the other ones are corner windows, which are tricky. Does that other window qualify as egress? Could it qualify as egress, that one in the corner? Or do you not know now?
Yeah, I don't know now. That's why I knew the one we were proposing definitely met that, but a corner window always gets tricky.
And then just sorry to ask a question on the motion. It was just to study, correct?
Yes.
My understanding, Mr. Silva, is that staff would work with them on the feasibility of doing that, is my understanding of the discussion. And Ms. Shield, correct me if I'm incorrect on your motion.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, would you? Okay.
I was up.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Garcia Pons?
Yes.
Ms. Rolando?
Yes.
Ms. Spain?
I have a question. So what happens with the garage door? Is that not included in any
No.
of this? And nor is the window?
Correct.
Correct.
The motion doesn't address either. There's nothing prohibiting them from returning at a different time to address those issues.
Okay.
The window is in one of the recommendations.
Is yours a
Work
yes or
the
no?
round circular window.
But
That
not to
is
move it.
one of the recommendations.
Correct. The motion with the condition asks that the round window remain in its existing
Okay.
location.
Okay, but we're not voting on the garage door now.
Correct. That is not a part of this motion.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Everett?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Ms. Dene?
Yes.
And Mr. Maxwell?
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, board members.
You're welcome. Okay. We're going to our last item today for the public hearing, which is case file COA SP 2025-017, continued an application for the issuance of a special certificate of appropriateness for the property at 415 Aragon Avenue, local historic landmark legally described as Lot 16, and the west one half, Lot 15, Block 7, Coral Gables, Section B, Plat Book 5, 111, Miami-Dade County. Application requests approval of variances from Article 2, Section 2-101D, 4B, and for the side setback of the existing detached garage and the side setback of the new addition.
All right, good afternoon. If we could have the PowerPoint, please. So just for a little bit of background, this property did receive a special certificate of appropriateness, and that was approved by this board on September 18th, 2025. There's been no changes to the additions, modifications, and alterations that were proposed from that COA. These variances were identified at the time of the building permit review. Although this application was preliminary reviewed by zoning, these variances were not identified at the time. And had come up at the more in-depth review for the building permit. So today before you, you will not be reviewing the additions, alterations, modifications. It's just about the variances to allow for those to be built in those locations. And so 415 Aragon, the request is for variances from Article 2, Section 2-101D4B for the side setback of the existing detached garage and the side setback of the new addition. One of the variance for the detached garage, this is an existing condition of the original detached garage, and there are no modifications to the building footprint. The structure will be attached to the new residence, with a new covered walkway. Staff is in support of this variance request. I included here the existing property survey so you could see the existing condition of the lot and how the buildings are sited now. So for the addition, the existing residence, the second variance is for the side setback of the new addition. This existing residence and detached garage are constructed along the west side of the property, limiting any potential development of the site to the rear and east side yard. The property owner wanted to retain the one-story condition of the site and maintain green space in the rear yard. As the west side setbacks are existing conditions that cannot be modified, staff is in support of allowing the variances for the east side setback to allow for an addition that is distinct and set back from the historic residence. I will allow, Mr. Poza is here to present, and he was sworn in just a minute ago. You have anything else?
Yeah, just Albert Poza, architect, 415 Aragon. Nothing's changed to the plan that was approved by the Board of Architects, by your own board, by the department. It basically, zoning missed it. And henceforth, 16, 17 months, we ran into this dilemma. Only this issue is remaining to be able to pull the permit, just about. So that's where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. And thank you for coming. It's a nice short speech. Appreciate it. Okay, folks, so what we really got here are two variances, okay? Let's see here, we're going to close that part of the meeting, and we're going to go to, is there anybody here that wishes to speak for or against this?
Aye.
Hearing none, anybody? No? Okay, good, we're done with that. Okay, Mr. Garcia-Ponce.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for the city attorney. So we approved the COA on September 18th. The plans were incorrect, I'm going to say, or there was the information
review was incorrect.
The information provided in the plans was incorrect. So,
no,
It's not my understanding that the plans were correct. Rather, zoning didn't identify the issue.
Let me rephrase. I base my decision, I say we base our decision on what we like to term the substantial competent evidence presented at that hearing. That evidence was incorrect because it does not meet the zoning requirements. I think my vote would have been different if it did. Is there any remedy on that motion, or do I deal with it today on this variance?
So should these variances fail to be granted, I assume that there would need to be a revision to the granted certificate of appropriateness and design plan to return to you all. Now it may return with a different or the same variance request. But if these are not granted, then that certificate of appropriateness wouldn't pass zoning muster or be permitted, is my understanding from what the applicant just said. So these are required in order for that approved plan to move forward. If these are not passed, that plan would need to return to you all, is my understanding.
That's right. Or there can be modifications made to comply, but that would alter the originally approved SCOA, so it would likely come back.
So
my understanding, he only has a zoning and signature, and he's ready to pull a permit. Is that right?
Right.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Silva.
Go ahead, Mr. Warren.
Oh, I was just going to say for the record, my understanding of the variance request is 1 foot for the side setbacks, and then for the, on one side, and then on the other side, it's 6 feet versus 11.
So that was my question, and maybe Mr. Poza can help answer, because I don't, there's not a requirement of a fixed requirement minimum of 11 foot on the side, correct? It's an additive with a minimum of 5 on one side. So can you walk us through because the way I'm calculating it, it looks like a 3-inch variance is what you're asking for. I mean, that's why I want to be a little more clear.
So,
Albert, please come up and, if you would, please.
Yeah, it's a 75-foot wide lot. So you need 20%, which means you need 15 feet. So the one side has 4 foot 10, I think it is, something like that. It's basically 2 inches off the side requirement, but was built that way in 1925, give or take. So the difference is the existing or the proposed east setback. And the difference, I can't even read from here what it is, but all we need is 9 foot, or rather, 9 foot 2 inches or so on the east.
Just to clarify, my understanding is that the request is for a side setback on the east side of 6 feet and 3 inches.
Yeah, that's the addition is set back 6'3", where it's required to be by code at 11 feet. Because the overall is 15 feet. So if you have 4 on one side, you need 11 on the other, which really limits his potential to put an addition at that side yard that exists because of the house's original site condition.
Does everybody
If I-
understand this?
If I could add something to it.
Everybody understand this down here? Okay, so it's clear to everybody?
And so where I was looking at the 3 inches was because the front of the house, so the back, the detached garage, right, is an existing non-conforming structure. We're not touching it. There's a 4-foot setback there. The main house on the front has a 7'7" side setback on one side, a 6'3" on the other. So if you disregard the garage, because we are already, that's, to me, that is covered under that first variance for the 4-foot garage. To me, looking at this thing, that he's asking for a 3-inch variance on the front of the house, on the main body of the house, because he's got a 7'7". I understand zoning wise, you go with the worst condition, right? So it's 4 feet, but in reality, when you look at the house, there's a 7'7" setback on one side on the main house, a 6'3" setback on the rest of it. So when you add that together, you come up with 14.9, and it's a 3-inch variance if we disregard that garage in the back, right? That's
If you're just looking at the main structure.
That's just the way
Understood.
I'm thinking.
That's
through
correct.
this,
That's
right?
correct.
right.
Ms. Throckmorton, these need to be 2 motions, or can they be rolled
I'm
into
happy
one?
for them to be in one motion, assuming that it's a motion that approves or disapproves both of them at once.
Thank you.
If it's okay with the chair, I would prefer 2 motions because I would like to vote on them separately.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
And just to be clear, my understanding is that there's no variance really needed for the garage as an existing nonconformity. It's only in conjunction with the addition.
To be clear, Stephen requested that it is included, so
Okay.
it's on here because we don't want
Okay.
him to have to come back because we didn't say it.
Right. And so-
Okay.
And so you're really just making everything conforming on this, okay. Okay, Mr. Garcia Pons, I understand that you have a motion.
I think Anna has a.
Is there another question, Ms.
No,
Alvarez? I'm sorry.
along the lines of what Alex was saying, I was under the impression that the garage setbacks in historic properties with zoning are considered separate from the setbacks on the main house. Do you have varying opinions on that?
This is the interpretation of the zoning reviewer, that we are clarifying for him to be able to move this project forward. We even sat down and had a conversation about this because at one point there was a discussion to make this a Coral Gables cottage, but because it does not meet the criteria for the lot size, that has kind of been, dropped. But I think there was a little bit of confusion there, and that's why that wasn't identified at the first review period. But I'm just trying to make it go with what he needs. I reconfirmed the variances to double check and had him email them to me. And so this is what's there to be able to prepare him to move forward with the permit.
So you reconfirmed the reconfirmed reconfirmation?
Yes, because again, they had been through the process already, and I think you're in your third review cycle or so.
No, it's
Second
actually
review
the-
cycle?
It's the second one.
Okay. So, but we were trying to get it to go very cleanly the second time here.
Okay, I think we've got a
Just
motion here.
A little small point from what Ms. Alvarez said. This house was very old. I worked on I don't know, at least a decade ago. And the garage was about 10 inches from the side property line. So because it was a 50-foot lot, they didn't hold it to have the normal setback. They said as long as you had the 5 or maybe a token little more on the other side, because otherwise, it would end up being almost an unbuildable lot. So I don't know, I mean, I was very glad for that decision, but sometimes those things happen in these old structures.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia-Pons.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion, one at a time, a motion to approve the variance a variance to allow the detached garage structure to maintain an existing west side setback of 4 feet versus a required minimum side setback in a single-family residential district at 5 feet pursuant to Article 2, Section 2101 D4B at the property located at 1415 Aragon Avenue.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Donna?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right, please call the roll.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Rolando?
Yes.
Ms. Ebert?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia-Pons?
Yes.
Ms. Spain?
Yes.
Ms. Janae?
Yes.
And Mr. Maxwell?
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Second motion, please.
I would like to make a second motion, but before I do that, I'm going to credit my board member, Mr. Silva. My question before the motion was going to be, according to the zoning criteria number 4, that literal interpretation of the provisions of the zoning code would deprive the applicant of the rights. I think that in this particular case, that is correct. So I'm happy to make a second motion, which is a motion to approve a variance to allow the new addition to have an east side setback of approximately 6 feet 3 inches versus the required side setback of a single-family residential district at 11 feet pursuant to Article 2, Section 2101 D4B, located at 1415 Aragon Avenue.
All right, may I have a second, please?
I'll second it. Me
Ms. Spain
again,
is
making
second.
it
Please
easier
call
for
the roll.
staff.
Ms. Ebert?
Yes.
Ms. Rolando?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia-Pons?
Yes.
Ms. Spain?
Yes.
Ms. Janae?
Yes.
And Mr. Maxwell?
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Albert, go get your permit.
Thank you.
And Mr. Maxwell, if I can just confirm for the record that Mr. Garcia-Pons, your motions also found that it met the criteria, not just that one criteria, it met all the criteria as indicated in the staff report.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
clarifying that, counsel. Another exciting adventure in historic preservation. Okay. That's pretty much all we have. We have any discussion items?
I had a
Anybody?
question for staff.
Please.
I was wondering if we could get an update on the renovations of the Biltmore Hotel.
Ms. Pernis?
Sorry, I was just wondering if we could get an update on what is going on with the renovations at the Biltmore Hotel?
Yes, I actually spoke with the operator it might have been Thursday of last week. To look at floor samples for the lower lobby. So we're looking at different options for that area, and then we have everything else kind of figured out, but no work is gonna get started until everything is approved, so that we're not doing things piecemeal and getting it all just done at one time.
Are they actually going to get a permit this time?
Yes. Well,
Have they
they'll,
been fined?
I'm not sure. I would have to look through the code enforcement violation cases, but,
Don't we usually fine people who don't pull permits?
we should, yes. They'll have after the fact COAs issued, and those will have $500 fees on our side. Again, not my code enforcement board is a different process.
Thank you.
Do we have an idea or an estimate on when work would approximately start?
I would assume they prefer to do things over the slow season, so summer is the best bet, and we'll push for that as well because we want to see it done.
Are they going to bring the plans here before this board?
We can request it.
I
It's
don't
not
know that
required.
anything requires.
It's not required.
And I think we would all be interested to see exactly what the restoration or whatever is going on.
To the extent that any of the renovations require a certificate of appropriateness, of course, they will come before you. The city sits, as you all know, in a very unique position in regards to the Biltmore, not only as a regulatory body, but also as a landlord. So a lot of these discussions are taking place with our sort of proprietary hat on. So they may or may not come before you officially. Whether or not they do unofficially, we can discuss that with staff, of course.
I think that that would be appropriate given the circumstances surrounding the renovations. And I think it would give more credibility also in the future to the city as well as to the property lessee.
Understood. We can certainly
Thank
work with
you.
staff on that.
I have an additional question.
Ms. Ebert.
Is there any update on 1021 Hardy?
There have been lots of updates. I don't know that I have an exact item to tell you. The city continues to be in discussions with them. I don't know if there are a particular
But
question.
who is them at this point? I mean, I heard that there was a contract, and did that?
The house is still, I believe, under contract. There was an expiration of that in May, pending the legal issues that are going on with the city. And I believe that that's now been extended because it ended recently.
Right.
But there's kind of a standstill on any work being done to the property right now because of the legal issues. And there's, I believe, a court hearing in July.
You know,
Correct.
I drive by there on my way to many things, and the other day coming home from Publix, it was just pouring down rain. Driving by there and seeing no roof on this property is, anyway. Okay.
Speaking of properties, what about the property on 1100 block of Sevilla?
So that's 1129 Sevilla. They have pulled a repair permit where they exceeded their scope of work. They submitted a revision. We reviewed that. They're back on track with our approvals to repair the existing. They are also going through the BOA process to come to before you all with a 2-story addition, modifications, alterations to the building. So we're working with them closely because of the code violations there. And that property is being fined daily for the last few years.
Thank you. I'd like to request, just on the record also, that at the time when it's available, if you could make the draft of the North Area Report available to all the board members, please. I think that would be really good, for everybody to see the progress that we're making. And
Yes, I could do that. We are working closely to just put cross the T's and dot the I's at this point.
I'm sorry, for what is that?
The North Ponce
Oh,
and
okay.
Flagler Historic Property Survey.
are there any other discussion items, board? Mr. Garcia Pons.
I have a question for Ms. Shield. I was unable to attend the commission meeting regarding our presentation. I was going to ask you how it went.
It was well received, I believe. There were included in the presentation was the property that was proposed to the mayor and the commissioners to possibly purchase on, I forget the name of this street.
At Galliano and Salamanca.
Galliano. And there were questions about that, but however, the property went under contract.
Yeah.
There was also a mention of funds that were received as part of the Publix project that are earmarked for historic preservation. I really don't know exactly what that means. 1.4 million, I think, was mentioned.
So as a part of that project, there was a proffer from Publix to give the city certain development rights on that parcel, which may in the future be sold. I think the equivalent amount of money value is what was being discussed. And the proffer included the limitation that those funds, if and when realized, be used for historic preservation purposes.
I must say that Ms. Shield did an exceptional job.
Mm.
And I think it's good for all of us should give her an applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really well received. I was in attendance, as were Ms. Pernis, and it was really well done. And Ms. Shield put what we needed to put forward. And that's important because, you know, we're hearing that, oh, preservation is about painting. And, oh, we're putting money away for painting. So like, for example, for the water tower, okay? And we're trying to clear that up, that's not preservation, that's simply maintenance. And so she did an excellent job in trying to not only educate the commissioners, but put items before them that they hadn't really discussed previously. And so she's really to be commended. And so I want to thank her personally, myself. And
you.
also, I think that the board has a really good member here. Are there any other discussion items, ladies and gentlemen? Is there any items that need to be taken to the City Commission? Thank you. Is there any item other than adjournment that we need to discuss? Hearing none and adjourning, we are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month.